Okay.
Did you ever think you could get a depression from just going to a casino or having a good time betting with your friends? A gambling problem can happen to people even if they think they're just having fun and trying to go out and hang out with friends. The NCPG notes the annual cost associated with gambling, including crime, addiction, and bankruptcy, is $17 billion a year. To learn more about the effects and risks of gambling, I researched government statistic websites along with the Addiction Network. Gambling is considered a secondary addiction and should be taken more seriously. First off, I will discuss the risks of starting an addiction with gambling. Then, I will discuss the importance of dealing with the addiction, and finally, how to prevent and stop this addiction. Now let's go over how an addiction starts. How serious is gambling addiction in America? Approximately 2 to 3% of Americans meet the criteria for a gambling problem. This includes 6 million adults and about 500,000 teens, according to the gambling addiction statistics. Youth risk is developing a gambling problem and at a rate of about 2 to 3 times higher than adults. Also, 6% of college students in America suffer from this problem. Gambling addicts are not all older or mature adults. They're younger than they may seem. There are youth as well. About 40% of our people with an addiction started before the age of 17. According to gambling addiction stats, such as Art Schlitter, his addiction began in high school. A native of Bloomingburg, Ohio, he had the perfect life. He was the All-American quarterback of a team, and he had never lost a game while he was at Ohio State. Then he went on to play, never lost a game in high school. Then he went on to play at Ohio State, and he was a star there. After Ohio State, he was supposed to be the next big thing. He was drafted by the Indianapolis Colts after winning a Heisman. Fun fact about Art, he threw the interception that led to Woody Hayes punching a Clemson linebacker. When Art was in high school, he was introduced to gambling with a visit to Scioto Downs. That's a horse racing place. He went on to win his first time there. He soon became a regular there and remained his favorite track. Moral of the story is his NFL career was cut short due to a 4-decade of compulsive gambling. A bad habit and legal problems arose from this, and according to Gambling Addiction Network, he is currently serving a 10-year sentence in federal prison for stealing thousands to fuel his addiction. Now the state with the most addiction is Nevada. 15% of Americans gamble once a week, according to addiction stats. Now that we have discussed the statistics of gambling, let's talk about the risks and how to prevent this addiction. Gambling can affect someone's mood and behavior, which can lead to mood disorders and depression. This problem runs more frequently in younger people, according to the Addiction Network. Family can have a huge influence on younger generations. The risks are higher for people who are competitive or people who easily get bored. You can seek guidance about this from a family member or a guidance counselor. Also, do not put yourself in a negative situation or around other gamblers. Individuals who start gambling need to understand what the risks are from just having a few beers and betting on a horse race. Just like the star quarterback, it can happen to anyone. You may not know it. That is yours personally until you start and cannot stop. An addiction is not just nicotine or drugs or alcohol. This is a mental disorder to where you feel the need to play the game even though you lose more times than you win. It only makes you hungrier for your next bet. Gambling is considered a secondary addiction and should be taken more seriously. Gambling is an addiction and needs to be treated the same as drugs and alcohol. It causes depression and other problems in one's life and ruins families.
Preach.